Hello, I'm Dean Atwal.
And I'm Leah Bolton.
You're watching Fraser Focus. It's all about local places
and local faces.
Let's take a look at today's show. Classic rock bands descended upon Grand Forks, British Columbia for Canifest 2018.
All month long in September, we're raising awareness for two observances: Disability Employment Month, as well as World Alzheimer's Month.
Over here for some lettuce.
And we meet up with a 95-year-old lady who has more energy than a 20-year-old, Mrs. MacDonald.
I just feel that you need to keep busy.
Designated as the Fraser Health's pediatric hub, Surrey Memorial Foundation is raising $5 million towards a $15 million renewal of their children's health centre.
Covering the region from Delta to Hope.
You're watching Fraser Focus.
I'm Leah Bolton.
I'm Dean Atwal.
Fraser Focus, a fresh perspective beyond the bridge.
Celebrating iconic classic rock bands, Canifest returned to Grand Forks for its 4th year, this time with partial proceeds going towards the devastating floods that took place earlier in the year.
We figured that the river was probably going to flood. We were watching it. So when it started breaching the banks, we started sandbagging the lower houses, and it just kept coming and coming and coming. And then it looped around and it flooded everywhere. This whole area was underwater. They are finally coming in, and Hazmat has to take out everything that I own in the basement, because there was about 9 feet of water in the basement. Everything is ruined in this basement. My well was ruined. My septic field collapsed, so my sewer backed up. It's quite the smell in there.
With this, all the flooding, we've been doing this every day. Yeah, it's tough on everyone. But I'm going back to work here.
So people in the community have lost everything here.
Everything, absolutely everything. And it's been really hard. I have neighbors who don't even know if they'll be able to come back here because their houses are gone. I did get a payment from Canifest, which was huge. That enabled me to get this set up. They've really, stepped up and above and beyond for this community.
Since its inception, Canifest has believed there should be more to a music festival than what happens just here on stage.
Unfortunately, this year, the people of Grand Forks, where Canifest is being held, Grand Forks was hit with the worst floods in BC history earlier in the year. And many of the people here tonight and this weekend are absolutely homeless. They have nothing, no businesses, no homes. They're still living in hotels. So that's where this society came from, and we are raising a lot of money. And we're hoping to raise it. We've already raised over $40,000. And we're hoping to raise another $50,000 this weekend to donate locally.
It means a lot. I mean, there was a lot of damage done this year. A lot of people suffered from it, and the help that he's putting back into the community and already has put into the community is great. There's not enough words to be said about what he's done for this small town.
Tonight, and so happy to be here in this community that's so resilient. They went through some horrible times in the spring with the flooding and that, and they're tougher than you can possibly imagine. So we're celebrating Grand Forks, and we're celebrating Canada.
This is about recovery because there's a lot of money coming out of this show, and you know, the town is like less than 5,000 people. Canifest swells it, brings in an extra maybe 10, 15,000 people. That's 10 or 15,000 people that are spending money here. Grand Forks is a special place. This is why we come. And Canifest 2018, great festival once again.
Bands here perform to sold-out crowds, and Canifest promises to be bigger, bolder, and better for next year. I'm Dean Atwal, and you're watching Fraser Focus.
For the person who's just been diagnosed, I at least needed people to listen because it was quite devastating for me.
Fraser Focus is brought to you by the Chambers of Commerce Group Insurance Plan, Canada's #1 plan for employee benefits.
Grace has been having trouble with Alzheimer's.
Yes, very much. And it gets tough to deal with at times, but we have to deal with it.
But she still knows who you are.
At times, yeah, most of the time.
Who is this? I never did find out.
That's me.
Yeah, that's Heather Small, yeah.
You're watching a Fraser Focus, Local Faces and Local Places. September is World Alzheimer's Month. We're raising awareness and challenging the stigma that surrounds dementia. Let's go visit Wendy.
I went to college when my kids were small at night school, and then went to university and got my master's degree at 45. And
You've been a force to be reckoned with.
I've been very independent.
And there's certain things where we'd rather avoid or pretend it's not happening, right?
Yes. For the person who's just been diagnosed, I at least needed people to listen because it was quite devastating for me. This is me with my 2 girls.
Oh, wow, okay.
Even though I had suspected something for a couple of years, I kind of had to work with my doctor quite a bit in order to get a CAT scan. 7 grandkids and 8 great-grandchildren.
Wow.
Yeah, I needed to talk about it. I just wanted people to sort of know where I was, and I wanted to be intentional about the months and years ahead. First, my mother, forever my friend. I thought it was so beautiful.
Have you noticed a difference in her from the beginning to now?
I've seen a bit of a change for sure. She says she's a strong, independent individual, and so she's really working with that to maintain her abilities to the best possibility.
Up, down, up.
Minds in Motion is an exercise and a socializing program. What we do know through research is it's never too early, it's never too late to begin activity. There are brain changes that happen when we are active, when we are out walking, when we are participating. The same with socializing. It's really, really important to maintain socializing. They're both very healthy activities for your brain.
Look, there's Laura, and there's Brandon, your great-grandson.
And you said hearing is affected?
Yes, which seems to be quite common with Alzheimer's.
Can you hear now?
Yeah, I heard you.
I'm your favorite granddaughter, right?
I know that.
See, she knows that.
My good man George and I were going canoeing, and I got into the van and I said, "Oh, I forgot my water shoes." And so I rushed back in. I threw my water shoes out. They were close by. I threw them out the door, and then there was something I needed to do in the kitchen. I just went to the sink, and I think I got a glass of water or something, and I had totally forgotten that I had thrown them out the door 5 minutes earlier.
So were you still looking for them?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I'm still able to do most things. I'm still driving my car short distances. I don't know how long that will last, but so far, so good.
Okay.
You know, when I realize that I'm getting lost or make a mistake, I will stop. But that will be very hard for me. I've been driving a car since I was 16.
Even within our own province, the health authorities are starting to look at this differently because they know the costs are going to increase. How can we better manage? We want people home as long as possible. What does that mean for somebody living with dementia? How can we best support them to be at home?
The Alzheimer's Society is putting more time and funding into research. In the meantime, Wendy and I are going to work on our brain skills, Sudoku.
I try to do this several times a week.
All right, you're watching Fraser Focus.
Yeah.
Stay with us.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start.
For people with disabilities, there's a lot of different factors that go into making it difficult to find a job, such as location, transportation, medical concerns.
You're watching Fraser Focus, Local Faces and Local Places. September is BC Disability Employment Month. A group of business professionals gathered in 2013 to form the President's Group to focus on inclusion opportunities in the workplace.
Our CEO is co-chair of the President's Group. We actually have a commitment to diversity, and we set targets and we measure our progress, and we actively attempt to recruit persons with disabilities.
Disability Employment Month in BC, it's actually a pretty cool opportunity for organizations and individuals to celebrate people with disabilities across the province.
My case manager at JoytvBC, she helped me find the GIS specialist job with YVR, and the job posting was like a month old already, but we decided to apply for it anyways, and I still ended up getting an interview, so that was really great. For people with disabilities, there's a lot of different factors that go into making it difficult to find a job, such as location, transportation, medical concerns. But I think this airport does a really good job with helping make the workplace more adapted to people with disabilities.
What kind of things do they have to make it easier for you?
They were able to put a wheelchair button on the front entry door for me. They also adapted some of the stuff in the washroom, and they also changed my desks around in my cubicle so that I could park my chair better.
Focusing on the abilities of people and what they can bring to the workplace by bringing their unique perspectives of having a disability, but then their talents as well.
I just say make sure they can get into the building, first of all.
And having a workforce that has people with disabilities actually makes you see things differently, and you end up with a facility that is better for people that are traveling through your airport that have disabilities, and that just in turn provides better customer service.
Marco, we did a story, I think it was last winter or the winter before.
That's right.
We went out to Surrey. So we rolled around there and we had a few issues. I tried to roll around in a wheelchair.
Right. Even some of the smallest bumps, I remember we had an issue where I think the tires at the front of the chair you were using got caught. And so even if the smallest bumps can make a big difference on somebody, but the cool thing about universal design and accessibility is that when you're creating an accessible workplace, a lot of the things, especially here at YVR Airport, you don't even notice that the accessibility is there, but it's there.
Let's imagine that these obstacles here are everyday obstacles, which if I was navigating this space, it would be an obstacle. And now there's a rock band on top of it.
That gives us some wheeling music.
There you go.
So stretching outside of physical accessibility, you got to think about people with auditory challenges or maybe hearing challenges. So the airport's been designed in such a way that the acoustics are a lot more dampened. So a lot of these adaptions and things that employers can do, they don't necessarily cost a lot of money, but they make a big difference. There's no arm rest here, and so that's so that somebody in a wheelchair can easily transfer out of their wheelchair if they wanted to into one of these seats here, right? So just yet another accessibility feature.
I think it's good just to give somebody with a disability a chance. And there's also grants and stuff that employers can get from the government to improve accessibility in the workplace.
Now we just keep going. I mean, that's what you gotta do, right?
Stats Canada says the unemployment rate for a person with disabilities is 4.5 percentage points higher than the rate of those without disabilities. You're watching a Fraser Focus. Stay with us. Covering the region from Delta to Hope.
You're watching Fraser Focus. Designated as Fraser Health's paediatric hub, Surrey Hospital Foundation is raising $5 million towards a total $15 million renewal of their Children's Health Centre. The foundation will help create the hospital's very first children's surgical recovery room, and they're reaching out to the community for support.
From the very first day, this emergency room has seen more kids than it was built to accommodate. This is the second busiest pediatric emergency department in the province, in one of the fastest growing cities in the country.
So Kennedy is type 1 diabetic. It was in February of this year. Her eyes were rolling. She was trying to speak but wasn't forming any words. And that's when I noticed also that the right side of her face was drooping completely. As soon as we pulled up to the front, there's a separate dedicated entrance just for children. They had answers for questions before I knew I even had them. They were by her side the entire time.
Last year alone, Surrey Memorial Hospital served over 50,000 kids, and with the community's support, they'll help raise the additional $5 million required to update and renovate their current 18-year-old Children's Health Centre. I'm Dean Atwal, and you're watching Fraser Focus.
I just feel that you need to keep busy, you know, because a lot of my friends have passed away, and if I didn't have my volunteer work, you know, I think I would miss that.
Welcome back to Fraser Focus, local faces and local places. Today I'm in sunny Vancouver with Mrs. MacDonald. She is 95 years old. She's hustling and bustling, and I can barely keep up with you.
We're going to Davie Street, Kins Market.
Kins Market.
And I walk down Broadway, down to Hastings.
Mrs. MacDonald? Where does she go? Oh, gotta catch up with her.
I just feel that you need to keep busy, you know, because a lot of my friends have passed away, and if I didn't have my volunteer work, you know, I think I would miss that. Now, this is where I was awarded the Award of Merit.
That's for all of the volunteer hours?
This was for 45 years at VGH.
Wow, that's quite a while.
Yeah, so actually it's about 48 now. 22 years at the cancer clinic.
Okay.
And about 18 at the VSO, Vancouver Symphony. I still have dinners for my family and cook dinners. And I bake for my sons, and I bake for my grandchildren.
Baking up a storm here with Mrs. MacDonald. You got it.
I'll hold this for you.
Okay. Going to continue to get our exercise here in Vancouver. Stay with us here on Fraser Focus. Keep watching.
Teachable Moments are brought to you by Doyle & Associates Private Wealth Management with Investors Group Financial Services Incorporated. Do you think it's important for spouses to maintain or to have their own independent credit?
They should have their own credits. Yeah. Because in this world, it's so unpredictable, so you should be totally independent, especially financially.
I think it depends on what spousal arrangements there are, because quite often people have joint bank accounts and joint life insurance and joint plans together, and their pensions are joined together as well. So I think it really depends on the individual circumstances in each arrangement or marriage.
Do you have any women friends who, when they lost their partner, found themselves in financial chaos?
Yes.
What do you think they could have done to maybe avoid that situation?
They could have built a credit for themselves and been more financially independent.
Do you think many couples are well prepared financially if they lost a partner through death or divorce? Have you thought about what these life changes might look like, from driving to housing to travel to the loss of a financial confidant?
I would have to say no. I think the regular life gets in the way of sitting down to plan a lot of times, and these conversations need to be had, and the more planning you do, the better off everybody will be.
We've heard the phrase, so-and-so was my husband's advisor. Do you feel you have a great working relationship with yours?
I do. I have a great young woman financial planner, and her mother used to be my financial planner, and I have a very good relationship.
Couples often build a financial life together, with each partner taking on various roles and responsibilities. But as we age, it can become difficult to consider the day when you may lose a partner because of death or divorce. Good planning suggests you consider the what-if strategies that may have a significant impact on your life. From where will you live? Will you move closer to the kids? To how will you get around? Will you be driving? Do you have access to good bus or public transit service? Are you close to shopping and healthcare providers? To what type of financial changes will affect your lifestyle choices? From day-to-day banking to investments to estate planning, not to mention changes to your advisor relationship, there's a lot to consider. When that day comes, will you be prepared?
Teachable Moments are brought to you by Doyle & Associates Private Wealth Management with Investors Group Financial Services Incorporated.
And that concludes another edition of Fraser Focus, covering the region from Delta to Hope.
If you guys have a story to tell, don't forget to contact us. You can give us a call, send us an email, or there's always social media.
JoytvBC. I'm Dean Atwal.
And I'm Leah Bolton. See you next week.